And I respect the hell out of what you're doing, Clint. And I think I've known you, man, for has it been 4 years, 5 years?
I'm doing this. I started this shit. No, 5 years. Yeah,
Yeah,
5 years.
about about 5 years.
Yeah.
And and your growth, bro, just personal growth you're doing, teaching people how to sell, your consistency year over year, and not letting life get in the way of your goals. Because I think all of us, we got life, dude. Makes sense. We got things. You got 3 kids. You got a wife. But you make the most out of every situation that you're in. Clint, you're somebody that I know when you're with your family, you're with them. When I know you're on that boat, you're on that boat. I know when you're with your wife, you're with your wife. Like you are where your feet are.
Hmm.
And that and to be where your to be where your feet are, you, you got to be really diligent and consistent with what generates the income. Is that
Yeah,
fair to say?
for sure. For sure.
I'm sorry, did I cut out? Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Right on, man. So to this group here, Clint, is probably, I bet you, the longest tenured agent on here with Family First Life outside of Bryce and myself is maybe 7, 8 months.
Yeah, fair.
Okay. So, just really looking at this. And when I think about you, man, I think about consistency. So I know me and Bryce had a great conversation earlier today, had some questions and things. I'm gonna be on, all right, but I'll be in and out as in video. But dude, if you could just take, I know we got some questions and things, but really why you believe anybody can do this. Okay, but really what it takes to do to be a high level producer.
Mhm.
And let me ask you something, Clint. When I say top producer, what would you qualify that as?
I think I'm just like average. I mean, to me, I'm
No,
like
but no, let's just say, hey, top producer. If somebody said, hey, I want to be a top producer, what number would you put beside that per
it's
month?
over 400, right? Every 400 annually. Sent towards the top. Yeah, that'd be a number, but that's standard. So with what we have now, I think it could be a lot higher. You know what I mean? Because now I feel like I'm just
I
average.
agree.
You know what I mean? With what we have now, it's too easy now, dude. I don't even have to work nearly as hard as we used to back in the day, Dom. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So everybody on here, if you want to be a top producer, $37,000 plus a month, this is the training that is going to help you get there. Okay. He's going to go over his schedule. He'll go over what it takes. And I know, Bryce, you got some good questions because, dude, I thought about this a lot with you, Clint. All right. Because you do things that are very duplicatable,
exactly the same.
like
Or-
very duplicatable. Okay. And I think that's what this business is about. All right. To be able to duplicate what you're doing. There's some people out there that just, you ever heard of that? People that they got the gift of gab. Well, the gift of gab cannot be translated to other people.
And it ain't in me.
So this is really what it takes to get it rocking, dude. So I'm gonna step out the way, dude. But I want to say thank you for hopping on this training. I don't take it lightly, and I know you got a ton of things to do. And guys, by the way, Clint makes like I don't know, like every hour he's on the phone. How much do you make?
Like annually? Like
No, let's just say for an hour you're taking to talk to us. How
oh,
much are you losing?
that's a good chunk. So probably gonna say, gee, got it. I mean,
There you go.
yeah.
So you guys, look, and he ain't even asking you to send him a Venmo or nothing like that. Okay? I'm just like I'm being serious because you don't have to do this.
Yeah, no,
All
that's
right. So I
a
really
lot.
appreciate you doing this. So men and women, take notes, be very diligent, have your cameras on, tell anybody at your house to leave you alone for the next 45 minutes because he's going to drop some things on you that you're going to be able to put in play today and crush it this weekend and make the second half of this year the best half of the year. All right. So appreciate you, dude. Bryce,
That
thank you. And crush it, brother. Thank you.
was fun. Thanks for the opportunity, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Yes,
Clint, dude,
sir.
if you could give us like the quick, just so we know who we're speaking with, give us the quick like background, like what you're doing before, how you found FFL, and then give us the non-humble version of what you've done so far at FFL, so we know who we're hearing from.
So just my background prior to like life insurance was pretty much aviation maintenance. I got separate out of the Navy because I popped positive, like probably biggest mistakes of my life, smoked some weed, got kicked out at 18 years, and I didn't know what I was going to do. Started working with my financial planner. He was like, I was like, hey, if I want to get in financial planning, what would you recommend doing? He was like, get your insurance license, get your tax license. I'll teach you how to do it. I was going to come on as intern. He offered me a small salary and a small commission, and it wasn't really much. I, after kind of getting his stuff in order and kind of helping him manage his clients and process them through, I saw that I didn't have a, how was I going to get clients? Because the way he'd get clients is he ran a tax firm, roll them into annuities, uncover their 401ks, and get that's how he got his clientele. So I was like, dude, there's no way I'm starting a tax firm. How am I going to get clientele? Talking with my marriage counselor, and she was like, oh, you do life insurance? Well, so does my grandson. And then started doing some research on Family First Life and just a wide range of people like you guys, man, just crushing it. Like, look at all you guys. Like, like you can't get more mixed than this. On ages, sexes, races, it don't matter. You know what I mean? But everybody had the same thing in common is they just grind. They just work hard. And that's what we sold from day one is you work hard, you can get here. I know what I put out. I know I can work hard. If I can work hard, there's no cap to this. And then that's why I was like, all right, I'm in. I'm in. So every year for the last 5 years, I've done over 400,000. Last two, I've done over five. Last two is when I went telesales, and I wasn't even planning on really hitting Hall of Fame. I was like, dude, I need more time for my family because I spent the last 3 years with like my head down, like going face to face was a grind. And now with telesales, man, it's a wrap. Like it's game over. There's no reason why you can't win at all because of our Zoom rooms. You got all these dudes in there just at your fingertips. You got 30, 40 people on at one time that can answer any questions you guys got. They can help you in real time get to the next level if you're willing to kind of go through that. That's why I'm super fired up about Zoom rooms because dude, you can hear me every day in there present. I say the exact same shit. Nothing changes. So all you got to do is replicate exactly what I'm doing, what Bryce is doing, Dom's doing, whoever, right? And replicate it. If you don't like the way I present something, do what Bryce is doing. If you don't like what Bryce is doing, do what Dom's doing. You know what I mean? But we're all winning at a high level, and the only thing we're doing is we're showing up every day. Nothing to it. And putting in the reps, you know? Not one of us walked in here knowing what we're doing. You know what I mean, you know what you're doing when you first started this, Bryce?
Absolutely not.
No clue, right? And then just came to lots of mistakes, right? Fumbling over our words, making mistakes, and then kind of connecting dots here and there. You guys can connect dots so much faster in here. Like, like you guys can be up to speed like where we're at in like months, in a matter of months. We used to go around and make mistakes forever and maybe adjust a word track every couple months. Little adjustments here. You know what I mean? And here it's just you can level up so much faster here. That was a long answer, huh?
No, dude, I appreciate it. Dude, take it and run with it, please. But I want to start with some of like the higher level stuff, and then we'll get into kind of more sales specific as we go. But dude, when I think of you, I think of like we put consistency for the topic of what we're talking about today because dude, you're the model of consistency. But dude, talk about what comes with consistency because when I think of you, I think of it consistent, but you're consistent in like your lead type, in your lead source, you're consistent in your day to day, you're consistent in your joining train, like you're on every training, you're on every Zoom. And I think that's one of those things that like we as agents we get caught up in like the grind. We're like, I gotta switch over, I gotta switch my lead type, or maybe I could start joining these trainings, or maybe like I shouldn't join Zoom dials anymore. Like we get caught up in the monotony of it and we get bored or we let it overwhelm us. So dude, talk to us about like, dude, the profitability that's in the boring. You know what I mean? Just doing the same thing over and over again. Because that's when I think of that, dude, I think of you, that's what I think of.
Yeah, because like whatever my schedule is, it's not negotiable. You know what I mean? I'm, I'm here at this time. I'm gone from this time to this time. If my schedule is my schedule, nothing changes. Like I'm doing everything I can in my power to make it happen. It doesn't have to happen all overnight, right? But slowly just all right, I'm doing this every day for the next 30 days. Now that's a habit. Introduce another habit. Introduce another habit. You know what I mean? And pretty soon there are little changes. It's not all happening overnight because you can't make this happen overnight. You know what I mean? But it's the small little steps that you're doing to get there. I mean, I didn't like talking about earlier. This didn't happen overnight for me. It was just step by step, one foot in front of the other to put it together. I'm just now in my fifth year feeling like I'm firing also pretty close, man. I'm doing pretty solid
Mm.
to where it's just like, dude, there's not like I'm pretty locked in right now. But it took me a minute, you know? You guys can get there so much faster if you guys are willing to challenge yourselves and just get uncomfortable. I remember hearing that all the time is get comfortable being uncomfortable because that's how you're going to grow. You know, I hated Zooms forever. Dude, I used to sit in a Zoom room with like 70 people staring at me, just me. And this is when I was just dialing, trying to set appointments. And it used to be super nerve-wracking for me. I hated crowds. I hated speaking. I hated talking. I hated it all. Um, but then I had to learn to like fall in love with it and learn that that's how I'm going to grow.
Mm.
Dom one time was like, "You're the most positive, negative person I've ever heard." Because I was really just, but then, and it wasn't the first time I heard it, but when he said it, it's like, he's right, man, he's right. So then I had to start working on my mindset too. Even when I was like 3 years in at this time, 2.5 years, 3 years in. Then I started working on my mindset like every morning just to make sure it was on point because your mind's a dangerous place, man. It can take you a million different directions if you don't reel it in. And so once I learned to control that, man, and the way I talk to myself, because dude, I used to think it's all bullshit, dude. I grew up listening to my dad, listening to like Anthony Robbins and all these dudes, and I was like, oh, that's all bullshit, dude. There's no way.
Yeah.
Now I'm 45, I'm like, holy shit, it's legit. Like it really matters what you tell yourself. Um, one thing I heard, right, is that whether you tell yourself you're right or whether you tell yourself you're wrong, either way, I think something like that. Whether you tell, you know what I'm saying, bro?
Right.
I'm saying, but whatever you
Dude.
tell yourself is the truth. You know what I mean? And so it really starts with what you tell yourself and working on it daily. Like daily, I can tell when I haven't worked on my mindset and when I don't have it dialed in. So I'll go the wrong direction all day long. That's what we're trained to do. That's what everybody else around us is trained to do. You know what I mean? So it's important that you work on that.
With that, like with the like, why haven't you switched up lead types? Why haven't you, stopped showing up to trainings? Why haven't you stopped live Zoomed out? What's the power in that boring and that same thing over and over again?
Um, I know it's part of the consistency, right? So I can one, um, it's very it's part of it. That's how I produce at such high income at high level, right? Is just staying there. And to me, also helping people get there too. I enjoy that. I mean, I love watching people win all day long, man. As long as these guys are doing what they're supposed to do. Like, there's only so much we can do to help you guys win, but you guys do your part too. I enjoy that a lot, and knowing that even if I go on vacation quite a bit now, but then when I'm not on vacation, I'm here, I'm glued to my desk because it control. That's how I can do these nice vacations, go wherever I want to, do whatever I want to do, control my schedule. Well, there's that part of the sacrifice, you know, and just knowing that for me to generate income, it's time and seek. What it boils down to. There's nothing to it, and then staying consistent because it's working, right? Like when things aren't working for you, Um, it's and you've been doing it for a while, right? There's no need to change it up. It's just the ebbs and flows of sales. When before I started this, I didn't know that. And so you kind of change as a new agent and not and being new to sales, you're going through that emotional roller coaster, not knowing exactly what's going on. But once you kind of get a once you kind of get understand that it's just averages, and then my bad week, my bad day, my bad 2 days isn't really going to affect my averages. That's when it comes to the consistency now. You know what I mean? Is what really drives our income here. It's the consistency, not the bad days, not the good days. It doesn't matter. I just gotta be locked in from whatever my schedule is going to be and lock in there, and everything else will pan out. So then when I have a bad day, I don't care. I sat here from 7 to 5. I sat here from 7 to 4. I did everything I could in my power to reach out to people, whether I help them or not. It is what it is, and I'm telling you, I'm not mad. Like it is what it is, and it really it does affect me, but very minimally. Like it's very like I'm like whatever, cool, going to the pool, whatever, and then but yeah, that's why I stay consistent with my schedule because then it just everything pans out.
Dude, totally. The consistency is the ultimate like reliever of stress and anxiety. You know what I mean? Like, I like the one of the biggest things for me about this business when I started was again coming from door to door sales, like the consistency of knowing that when I show up tomorrow, that I have people to talk to that have at least filled out a form for what I'm selling versus the inconsistency of door to door is like, dude, I hope I stumble and trip into somebody that doesn't kick me out and is moderately interested today, because that's how I was providing income for my family. You know what I mean? And so when you can create that consistency of like, dude, no matter what, I know that I'm doing this, it so alleviates that anxiety of like, dude, I don't know what's going to happen next. Like if you've proven to yourself one time that if you sit there and dial for 12 hours, you can make some money, then there should be no like, dude, if I don't, if maybe I dial for 12 hours tomorrow and I get smoked, I know that if I do that again, I will make money. So let me just continue to stack that up. So, dude, that's so huge. Um, I want to talk about live Zoom dials for a second because you kind of mentioned it, right? You mentioned how it was really important for you earlier. And then I was talking with Dom a little bit because your path is interesting, right? In the sense that like the team that you work with now isn't necessarily your quote unquote upline, right? Which is what's awesome about the success zone, right? But like you were part of a live Zoom dial, and then is it fair to say you were kind of like lonely, like on your own for a minute, and then
Yeah,
you rejoined our group? So, dude, talk to us about how important that is, like how important maybe joining a Zoom dial was for you, and then what it was like to be on your own, and then what it's like for you now that you're kind of like back part of a group again.
yeah, no, it's awesome. So being part of a group. So when I left Dom's office, I went to telesales pretty much by myself. When I left Dom's office, because I was in office with Dom for like a year, and slowly transitioning into telesales. I started doing telesales. One of my buddies reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, I want to get into telesales too." It wasn't direct to me or anything like that. So I was like, "All right, come in, dude. We'll do a Zoom, and I'll start helping you." Right? So we started bringing on other agents and us helping coach those guys too. None of them direct to me, and we sat in there for almost like for a long time. Um, at that time, I was like, man, I'm losing a lot of money helping these guys, just listening to them and stopping what I'm doing, dude. I can pump through people fast, dude. I can be really profitable quick, dude. I could knock like out if I was hyper focused, dude. I could knock out 40K in 4 days a week, like
Right.
probably pretty easily. Yeah, but so then I was like, man, these guys are taking a lot of my time. But then I was like, well, I'm learning. I'm learning how to coach. I'm learning how to get people effective on dialing. Um, that room had a lot of negative people in there. And then that's I talk about my rooms, man. Like, there's no negativity in here because that shit will feed on each other. And then it's a cancer, dude. And so that's why you guys got to watch. Like even in my Zooms, like, dude, there's no negative talking, dude. It'll fuck it up all day long. So, but that one dispersed, and then so I was selling again by myself in a Zoom room. Was like, man, I need to get around other people too, because then now the whole plan was if I have a Zoom room with people that can help my agents as well, and I can help other agents too, everybody's winning at the same time. You know what I mean? So I don't have to be there all the time. You know what I mean? So if we have a Zoom room where everybody's feeding each other, now you could pull me out of the equation and I can have Dennis in there. I could have Mo in there, and then they can get help from other agents, you know? And that's why the Zoom rooms are so important, all the way around, man. That's why I'm like super excited about hiring again, dude. Because, dude, we can get people up to speed in no time. Now with the script, with following the script, you don't know when people are pausing at the wrong time, when they're asking the wrong question, or how to position the questions better. Like, it's so much more replicatable, dude. Like, dude, dude, I think about this when I'm coaching people. Like, dude, do you know how long it took me to learn this one thing I just told you about?
Yeah.
Do you know how long it took me to put all this stuff together? And you're getting it like this, So everybody is plugging in there, dude, you're gonna win, but you just gotta plug in.
Well, like that's the perspective that you bring, right? Like I think like I can imagine like when I reference in-home sales, I imagine there's probably people that are like roll their eyes like, okay, dude, we get it. Used to sell in the home. But but the point is like you can bring that perspective of what it was like previous to what it is now for how fast you can make changes because of live Zoom dials. So like, to your point, if I was doing something wrong in the home, that would only reflect in my results. There was no real-time adjustments that could be made. But with the value of live Zoom dials, if you're doing something that's like not helping your sale, if you're unmuted, dude, Klint can point that out now, and you can make the a fast adjustment and get out in front of that so fast. So like that's why you bring up the in-home sales, not to be like, oh, it was like so much harder and like we used to walk uphill in the snow both ways, dude. No, just more like a perspective of like, dude, you don't understand how good we have it now. You know what I mean? Like that's how I always talk about Dom is like, look, Dom is a guy that can bring a perspective of what it's like to sell at a high level with one carrier and basically zero, like very inconsistent leads,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Inconsistent, like what we have now with leads of 27,000 different lead types and sources. And like and the point is perspective, right? You know what I mean? To like bring a little of gratitude, because it's easy for us to get in our head and all pissed off when we're getting crushed. It's like, I get it totally, but like we have it so good. You know what I mean? So like bring it back down, like gain some perspective.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, man, totally. Um, I don't know. I just think of like if you were not enjoying life as much or frustrated with doing this by yourself and you had already figured out how to sell. I just can't imagine somebody trying to figure it out by themselves and they haven't yet got that confidence of learning how to sell.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
You know what I mean? And like that's what Zoom is for.
For
Like
sure.
so I don't know.
There's like I
Anything
never
else you want to talk about live Zoom dolls before we move on? Because you're kind of the king of it right now.
Nah, that's where it's at, man. It really is, man. You guys have no idea how much you guys have there. Like, utilize it, man. Like, it's for you guys. It really is. It's to help you guys level up fast. Just take advantage of it, you know? Take full advantage of it, because you can level up so quick in there if you guys use
100%.
it right.
When you're bringing on new agents, how do you articulate the work and like what this thing takes?
It's really you're gonna be in a Zoom room all day long. You're gonna get slammed around all day long. It's just how fast you get to the next one. And then you're gonna go through it, and then we're gonna take it one bite at a time. You have a lot of help here. So I know everybody, because as a new agent, like, I want to know the carriers, I want to know the products to write. Do you know if you're in a Zoom room, we have those answers for you like that. If you're off mute, I can tell you where to go. So all you have to focus on is hitting send, get somebody on the phone and come off mute. Work on that script. That's how simple it is now. You know what I mean? Yeah, I need you to know the carries, but all I need you to know to is really how to quote and how to get to the apps. Dude, we can share our screens when we're in a Zoom. Like Dennis is helping a girl out today. It's Peely. Peely's in here, I think, but in Spanish. We helped her walk her through her first app. She cracked open the app, dude, and we're walking her through step by step on what to fill out. All she needed to know was how to get to the app, how to quote. That's it. Know your script. That's how simple it is now. You know, so it's really how much time are you going to spend here is how you're going to win, because it's all repetition. And don't take it as I didn't close that person. Look at it as like I'm learning. You're putting together a giant puzzle, right? And everything you do, even if you don't get to a close, even if they're like 92 years old and you can't help them, still have that conversation. So you know how to navigate everything, right? Doesn't matter if you've got a warm body at the end of the phone, go through it and try to figure out your processes and how you're going to connect all the dots, you know? And that's what it is for new agents, is just fall in love with the process of learning it. Pretty soon stuff's going to be firing, you know? But give it some time and be okay with little wins. That's how you'll grow here.
No doubt. So dude, you're have you always been a final expense guy?
I did mortgage protection for a little bit, but it's not even final expense really. So these are life leads that I'm
Okay,
working.
life. But
Yeah.
but so same with like vet, right? It's like not final expense, but would it be fair to say most people fill it out because they're looking
Yeah,
for final expense?
exactly. Yeah.
So I say final expense because it's not like IUL or mortgage protection,
Yeah.
right? So dude, I like, in my opinion, and you know, of course, you talk to 27 different people, you're going to get different answers. But in my opinion, final expense is the best way, or life, just simple, right? Is the best way to start out as a new agent.
I think so.
Now, you've been here for 5+ years and you're still running final expense. Me too. I've dabbled in other lead types, but dude, talk to us like why? Because I think sometimes you run final expense, you run into like they're not making crazy money, debit cards, stuff like that. Like, and so like you want to like get out of it. Like, I can't wait to get to mortgage protection or IULs. But me, I always fall back to it. So like for you, why do you still run that? And yeah, dude, just talk to us about like why final expense still after 5 years?
lead cost is pretty low compared to everything else. They're in abundance, dude. They don't stop.
Hmm.
Like those leads, they just come in nonstop. If you go to mortgage protection, I haven't really dabbled in IOLs too much, but I know mortgage protection is kind of slow, as in volume. So I'm like a volume guy, and I'll just pick up low hanging fruit,
Hmm.
and it's low, and the prices are cheap. And then so last year I went to Ignite in like October, and as my intentions were to go learn more IULs. I'm like, I need to start working IULs, but then I'm like, I need to start building too. So for me, I was like, it's easier for me to coach somebody doing final expense life insurance than IULs, is where I was at. Um, could I work IULs part-time? Yeah, I guess I could. But then also, if I do that, I can't share my leads with my agents. Well, it'd just be harder, right? And so that's why I was like, so now my agents that I come on, I can help them out with my old leads. Like there's tons of meat on those leads still. I've not called them as much as I should have. And so now I have like a warehouse of leads that my agents can work and still make money. You know what I mean? So that's why I stuck with final expense, and it's such an easy conversation. It really is. Very like super simple. You hear like me, it's the same thing every time. You know what I mean? There's nothing different. My script doesn't change at all. Um, it's the exact same thing every time. Replicatable. You know what I mean? And it's quick. It's easy. And if it takes me more than an hour, I don't like doing it.
Dude, or more than one step.
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Dude, and so everything you just said, I could not agree with more. Like there's been times where I've been full IUL lead flow, but then I'm coaching on final expense and it just felt like icky. It felt weird. Like, Ed, I don't have leads I can share with you, anything like that. And then we got, we got guys like Darren that made three sales off of his first three sales were off of my old leads. And I look back and I'm like, oh, that was some time where I had some stuff going on with my family. I called those guys a total of like four times. You know what I mean? Like there's so much meat left on it. So
Ton, dude, a
I could
ton.
not agree with what you just said
Yeah.
more. And yeah, dude, sometimes it's just about simple and not like, not trying to overthink it. And you probably look at your bank account and you're like, why the hell would I switch that up too? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
if it's working,
yeah, I'm so comfortable, dude. I'm really comfortable. So
dude.
playing, yeah.
I love it. So let's get into some sales specific stuff, some script stuff. So dude, I don't know, just maybe like give this is like I said, this is all a group of new agents, right? So how would you explain to them like how to attack a script, like how to get comfortable and familiar with the sales process? Like if I'm brand new and I just got a script or if I've only been on the phones for a couple of days, like what are the tips you're giving to your agents to just get a good feel for what it is we do?
So our scripts, every script that you have is pretty dialed in. No matter who you got it from, it's pretty locked in, and there's a purpose for everything in that script. We're not there just we're not there just reading stuff, just to read stuff. It's very specific, so follow it. What that does too is it gives you some structure because you need structure when you're talking to clients as a new agent. Like you don't know where to take the conversation. That's there to help you guide you going and walking you through step by step. Dennis reads my script verbatim. You look at Bree, reads the script verbatim. Like once you can follow that, and it's a no-brainer. Like it takes all the guesswork out of the whole entire thing, right? There's nothing to it. Like, I just got to read this, get to this part, check, get to this part, but not really check because that's what I used to do too when I first started. Is I would just go through it and move to the next step. Understand, um, understand
Mommy
what
has to buy them.
each portion of the script is for. Like understand what we're trying to accomplish in that portion. So you know how to convey it. You know what I mean? So it's not just you reading, you understand what you're trying to get accomplished, right? Just like
That's huge.
right? Instead of just, oh, here's my license, check, right? Understand what we're trying to do when we're doing that. We're trying to build credibility fast because these guys are telling everybody they're talking to, their parents, their brothers, their sisters, their kids, everybody they're talking to is telling them everybody's trying to scam you. Anybody's talking to you on the phone is trying to scam you. Your phone number came up as scam likely, right? And so how do we bring their walls down? So every time they pick up the phone, their walls are up. Every time. How do we bring them down? I learned over just the last year or so, once I slowed down and make sure they knew exactly my point I was trying to get across, it helped me a ton. Once I started making sure they saw my ID, I didn't get hung up as much. I didn't
Hi,
get
Tom. I'm Lisa. How are you?
I didn't get as many no, I won't give you my social. You know what I mean? Or no, I'm not giving out my banking. I still get it, but not as much as I used to. I used to hit them with their Y super fast and then hang up on me. Well, I was like, fuck, that hurt. Well, where do I adjust? Right? Okay, I need to make sure they know me and spell it out. Like you'll see me on Zooms, y'all be like, did you get it? Did you get it? No. Did you get it? Every time you hear me say, did you get it? I've hit send on my phone because they're getting notifications. Like,
Of
no,
just your license?
my license, pictures, the carriers, whatever it is, dude, I'm sending.
So you're
If you
saying
hear
like
me,
before you slow down and like confirm that they got this stuff,
Mhm.
that resulted in more objections. And you
Yeah,
kind of reverse engineer it and realize like, oh, dude, when I slow down and confirm, like you saw that I given you proof that I say who I say I am, that I am who I say I am, that resulted in less rejection
yeah,
because the
less
people
than I
trusted you more. Fair to
yeah,
say?
100%, yeah, 100%. Because I used to give them my stuff and like, all right, you got it, cool, and move on.
Just assume.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, I got it. But now I'm asking them, do you see that? Do you see all the carriers? No, I got it on my text message. No, I need you to see it. Because if they didn't see the carriers, that means they didn't see my ID. It doesn't mean it means they didn't see my license. So I want to get ahead of that. Then we're telling them, I send the carriers. I'm like, all right, see all these carriers? I'm a broker. I get to shop around for you. All these guys are like, oh, I want to shop around. I get to shop around for you. It's all state regulated. There's no change in the price. So I really get to shop for you. So even if it comes up later on, oh, I want to shop around, I was like, remember, I got to do that for you. It's all state regulated, you know? So the other piece of the script is, so when we do get objections farther on, we can revert to what we just told them. You know what I mean? Like I just did, right? It's like, hey, when you get to the very end, like, I want to shop around. Like, hey, I got to shop around for you. If I miss that piece, I don't have a leg to stand on when I get to the very end. You know what I mean? That's why it's so important. And then, yeah, just tell them that I'm going to get them the best rates, and understanding like they are trying to shop around. I get to do that for you, right? When we get into the why, we're asking them the worst thing I hate hearing. I got a client, they want $500,000. Where do I go? I'm like, fuck. Back to the drawing board, because if we're going there, we're never going to meet them where they want to be. So if you can figure out the reason why we ask the why questions, is it to overcome the I want the $500,000, I want the $150,000. Because when you get into it, all they're looking to do is cover their cremation, cover their burial, protect their mortgage, right? And then you kind of figure out what their scenario is. What does it look like for them, right? And it's putting a number on what they're looking for now. So I'll ask them and let them tell you, instead of you often hear a lot of agents like, okay, cool, you want to cover burial? Okay, cool. All right, cool, check. All right, this is what we're gonna do. But listen to them. And even recently, within like the last month, I've learned for even myself to even pause longer, to pause even longer after I ask a question. Pause for 2 or 3 seconds, just wait, because sometimes they want to say stuff and I just don't give them enough time. Because they're going to tell you their pain points. They're going to tell you what they want it for, and just let them. If that's the only place I'll let them talk a lot. Is when
Darren, you hear that? That's what I'm working on with Darren. Like, dude, let them talk. You know what I mean? Like, they will tell you stuff. You let them do it. I'm so glad you said that, Clint.
Because they're going to tell you, they're going to give you everything you need. And then I'm going to ask them, have you had to bury anybody? Yes or no? If you have, how much did it cost? 12,000, 10,000, 15,000, whatever it is. Now I know a number to their problem. You know what I mean? Versus 150,000, 200,000. This guy, 15,000 is going to help their family. Right? Not the ad they saw for 150,000 for $30. Right?
Dude, I wanna stay here for a second. I'm really glad you brought this up, because what I've found is that this part is the hardest part as a new agent, right? And I don't know, the way my brain works is I think of the sales process in like steps, right? So you talked about like, all right, intro of the script, right? And then we got, financial inventory, asking medical questions, budget questions. And then there's this next part of like building the plan. Like you said, assigning a number to to like assigning an amount of coverage and then and then there's closing and then filling out an application. But that building the plan part is the least scripted thing. Would you agree with that? Like everything up until that point, you kind of can be like a brainless monkey of just like, all right, intro part of the script, financial inventory. But do this next part take some asking some good questions, being on your toes, listening, kind of having to go down some different paths based on the stupid stuff they tell you, right? And then closing and filling out the application, again, brainless. Like you ask a closing question, they say yes, you fill out the application, whatever. You know what I mean? But like, dude, talk about that building the plan. Like, what are some good, you kind of mentioned it, but like, what are some good questions you ask? How do you build the size plan, find the amount of coverage to even show them? And then like, what are maybe some things that you struggle with, or what are some changes you've made to like get good at that?
Is just doing it a lot because it's really uncomfortable. These questions, the reason why it's so hard is they're uncomfortable questions.
Right.
Like,
They're not survey questions. They're like actual, like digging deep, hard
yeah.
questions. Yeah.
And then asking them properly too. Instead of, I remember Dennis, I'm like, dude, you sound like a cop, dude. You're a real asshole, dude. Stop it. You know, the way you would ask them, but you have to come with a place of concern, right? Instead of like a cop, because they shut down. And but then so
So you ask, so you ask, like, have you ever had anybody in your life that's passed?
let's role play. I probably think it's the
Yeah,
best
yeah,
way.
yeah. All right.
'Cause
So let's
'cause it can
say,
go so many different ways, and that's the hard part about doing is it can go a lot of different directions, right?
yeah.
And how do you? That's what the next piece of our
So
script.
let's say you got me on the phone. You've told me, or I've told you that like I want to cover my final expenses and my daughter would be my beneficiary. You're like, all right, cool. You got that, but you didn't dig too deep there yet, right? Because you got to keep it moving.
Yep.
Giving me structure. You got all my health and my budget. But now before you show me options, you got to like, all right, I know that your daughter's your beneficiary. I know that you want this insurance to cover final expenses, but that's too general. Now I got to dig deeper. Like
Yep.
what how would you take it from there?
So okay, so you want to cover your final arrangements. Now, are you gonna cut? Are you when you say final arrangements? Are you trying to take care of your burial or your cremation, Bryce?
Burial.
Burial, got it. And then the cost of burial, it can vary from state to state, county to county. Have you had to bury anybody recently?
I mean, I had a cousin that passed like probably 3 years ago or so.
Really, my condolences, man. Sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
Um, with the burial, do you know how much it cost the family to bury him?
I mean, everybody kind of pitched in. I don't know. I didn't pay for everything. I just pitched in, but I would imagine it was, probably somewhere north of 10,000.
Geez, man, that's rough, man. I'm sorry you guys had to go through that.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, how and so you guys, so they, I guess they didn't have coverage in place,
No. Mm-mm.
and that must have sucked, dude. I can imagine that. Sorry about that. So it sounds like you're trying to prevent that from happening to your daughter.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. I can definitely help you. And then I sympathize with them, man, because they're looking for our help, right? They're going to tell us our pain points. We got to let them know we got them, you know? All right, I'll help. I can definitely help you out with that. Have, Does she live close by or she gonna have to travel?
Yeah, she's like 15 minutes down the road.
Oh, nice.
Not too
Good. Yeah,
far.
so she doesn't have
Yeah.
to travel too far.
Yeah.
And then, God forbid you pass away tomorrow, financially, could she afford to cover the burial expenses?
No. No.
No. Okay. All right, man. I could definitely help you out. Okay, we can definitely help you guys out here, and just keep in mind, any dollar amount going to her is going to help her out when that day comes. Could you imagine if your cousin even had just $10,000, $8,000 just to cover that, right?
Right.
Still be a huge help, right? So I'll definitely see what I can do for you. Okay, but that's pretty much
Dude.
my conversation.
And that's why I love final expense because you can just do that same thing the only variant there is I might have said cremation and I may have said like and again, I don't know. The way my brain works, I think of the sale in like paths. So I ask you a question, you're either going to answer it to go down this path or this path, right? If I say cremation, you would have gone the same route, but we just may not have looked at the same amount of coverage, right? But what if let's take it back. What if I say, no, I haven't had anybody in my life pass. Like I
Okay.
haven't been involved with it.
Well, the cost of burial can vary from state to state, county to county. Have you had a bury in what, or are you aware of the cost of burial in your area?
Um, no, I'm not.
National average, you're looking at anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000, just so you have an idea, okay? And then now, God forbid you pass away tomorrow, financially, could Mary afford to cover the burial? So yes.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
she probably could. She's a nurse. She does well.
She does well. Okay. So then does she have the money? Does she have the money saved for your burial?
What do you mean? Does she have money saved for my burial?
Does she have money saved for your burial?
No.
No. So then how would she be taking out loans or how would she cover it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure she gets like a 401k through her work. Like she has money.
Yeah, I mean, so I do well myself, but I mean, God forbid my dad was to pass away. It'd be devastating if I had to come out of pocket like ten to $15,000. Sounds like you're trying to prevent that from happening to her too.
Right.
Okay, got it. I can definitely help you out there. Okay, and then just
Dude,
go.
like the here's why I love fun. Like it's that like that's the conversation. Like Clint, that's the conversation every time, right? It's either one of those two paths. It's either burial and cremation. Boom. Yes, I have had somebody in my life pass. No, I haven't. Yes, I have had somebody in my life pass. Cool. How much did it cost? No, I haven't. Got it. Are you aware of what it typically costs? Like either way, we're getting to the same thing. This either they've had an experience with that or not. Like I'm glad you brought that up. That's how I try to articulate this to new agents because the way my brain works is like when I ask you a question, you're either going to answer this or this. I got it either way. Like I know how to take it based on what you say. I'm just trying to see which path are we going to go down here. And I think we overcomplicate this too much. But guys, if you just go back to that part of this call of our role play and just replay that part like 15 times and just go, all right, I'm going to ask these same questions every time. Do you want to be buried or cremated? Right? Then the next question is, have you ever had anybody in your life pass? Have you ever been involved with it? Then, based on what they say, you know, based off of those role plays, which direction to take it. Just that line of questioning gets you to the point where, cool, we assign value to this. Now we can build a plan and give you numbers based on actually doing something and not just showing numbers just to show numbers.
Yeah, because we're not going anywhere for just showing numbers. You know what I mean? There's no motivation. They're not going to move. You know?
To me, that's how simple this thing is. You know what I mean? It's just like it's those same couple questions. Is which way, which answer you're gonna get, which way we're gonna go. Um, dude, I love that. That dude, that's huge right there. I don't know. To me, that's where the money is. Matt asked, do you have any uncomfortable questions that you make sure to ask during each phone call before moving on? Like non-negotiables, like stuff you need
Oh
them
yeah,
to answer before you move on.
always, yeah. Um, for the most part, yeah. There's some things if they're really hesitant, I'll just go. I'll leave them, right? But I mean, my structure is pretty much once I get through their why, then I tell them process. I tell them process what we're gonna do. Hey, so now because by that time, because I've shown them my credentials, they know who I am, what I can do for them. Then I go into their why. By that time, I'm about like 8 minutes into the conversation. So now I'm going to tell them what I need to do for me to continue. Hey, once we identify it's affordable and I think I can get you approved, I'm going to help you submit a request for coverage and see if they're going to accept us, right? And then so when we submit the request for coverage, they're going to ask for your beneficiary's basic information so they know to deliver the check to. They're going to use your social just to check your medical history and your prescription history. So whatever's in there is what they'll see. So be as honest with me as possible. It's going to allow me to shop around for you. So I'm getting over the social and why I need it because I'm going to help you. I'm going to get you the best rates. I need your social, right? And then if we get approved, are you going to be using a checking or savings account? I'm using a checking. I'm gonna use, no, I don't have one. I'm gonna be using a direct express. No, I don't have any income, right? Whatever it is. So if there's no income, then all right, cool. Reach back, ask me when do you have something. I may even get people to hang up right there. I'm okay with
Good.
that.
You just saved yourself an hour.
Exactly. I save myself some time. Before I was like, oh man, I should try to restructure that. I've been on the phone with them for like nearly 8 minutes already. If they don't have trust in me by then, they won't have trust in me when I get to the very end. You know what I mean? And it depends on how they'll be like, oh, banking? Like, yeah, that's if we find something, then I take it away. That's if we find something that's affordable and I think I can get you approved, then I keep it moving. But if they're like a hard no, absolutely not. You are not getting my social. You're not getting my bank. All right. Well, good. You got to go find somebody local and reach out to them. Like, but I can't help you. And I just keep it moving. I'm not mad. Like, is what it is, man. I save myself a lot of time. So that's one of the, yeah, definitely a process, a step I use every time.
I remember, I remember when we first started kind of teaming up on these live Zoom dials. We were talking about how, and you were like, dude, this is a change I just made. And you were talking about like, I call it staying in the pocket, right? Like I am a freaking, fiery Irish guy. So like I can easily get all aggro on clients when they give me dumb stuff. You know what I mean? So I have to like tell myself like, dude, calm down, stay in the pocket. It's all
Yeah.
good. You know what I mean? And you said you used to too. Like you would get all pissed off, like, dude, I know I'm not going to sell this, but let me just make sure this guy never fills out a form again in his life. You know what I mean? But dude, now I hear you and like people say dumb stuff and you just like, okay, no problem. You stay in the pocket. And dude, a lot of those people you end up converting because you stayed calm and didn't feed into their BS. So
Yeah.
dude, talk to
Yeah.
us about that. Cause I remember us having that conversation, like, dude, this is like a recent change I just made.
Yeah.
And it's necessary for telesales.
Your tone, right?
Oh,
When they say some stupid shit and you just keep even killed, don't get excited because you get excited, they get excited, and it's going back and forth. Yeah, 100%. And so learn to keep that in wraps, right? And just no big deal. Brush it off and keep it moving, man. Because we go tit for tat, man, and it a lot of times doesn't end well. Also, like, when they say some stupid shit, man, it's like it's so easy to say stupid shit back. But it's like, but if I've got agents coming in behind me, I don't want to close their doors too, you know? And also I've also picked up people from before that I thought were closed doors too, but I just left it open, you
mm,
know? And you just never know. But yeah, it's hard. Trust me, it's hard. It's hard.
dude, totally. Still working on it. Ernesto asks, what's your go-to think about it rebuttal?
My favorite thing, like for me, is like I understand you want to think about it, right? But I've taken it away so many times before. So I've taken it away a lot. Like in our conversation, when I show numbers, like, hey, if we can get you approved, if they'll accept you, if I throw out ifs all the time throughout my discussion with them. We'll submit a request to see if they'll accept you. So then when they tell me they want to think about it, I understand you want to think about it, but we don't even know if they'll accept you. Okay. So for you, what do you know in your heart would always be affordable for you? Start there first. If we get you approved, then we can adjust it up or adjust it down. The hardest thing is seeing if they're going to accept you or not, right? So for you, what do you know in your heart would always be affordable for you, and how much do you want your daughter to receive? God forbid something to happen, and then wait. Like so, when we get to the end, you always want like you'll hear a lot of people they'll over explain. They'll keep talking, take it a different direction. When we're talking numbers, it is just numbers. It's the questions I'm asking are yes or yes, higher or lower. Is 10 good for you or 15 good for you? Do you want me to go in between or you want me to stay at 10? What works for you? It's if you can watch that, dude, you'll get at least 2 sales extra a week. Like I'm telling you, like you coach a lot of agents, they just want to over-explain just because they don't know what to say, and it's kind of awkward silence. But if you just stop, sit back, yes or yes, and wait, they're gonna pick one oftentimes, you know. Um,
Dude, we get good at making them like making it easy for them to not buy. And what that is making it easy for them to buy. You know what I mean? Don't give them any other choice but to pick one. You know what I mean? Like that's it. So, dude, I love that. That's good stuff. Matt just texted me, and we'll wrap up with this. Um, he said, "Did you already talk about his dialing strategy? So, like, what's your when you get a batch of leads or you get new leads in, that you found success, like, so how do you approach attacking a list of leads from like a
any
dialing standpoint?"
any list of leads that I'm working, doesn't matter, old, new, whatever it is, I'm gonna grab like a stack of 40, and then I'm gonna call as fast as I can, 3 times in a row every time. Even if it goes straight to voicemail, I'm calling 3 times in a row. You'd be surprised how many times people call back the numbers that go straight to voicemail, that they call back. Like it's just weird, right? I'll work through that list, then I'll work through that, then I'll get to the bottom of that list, and I'll go back to the top of the list, and I'll work 3 times in a row again. And a lot of people are like, hey, that's a little aggressive. As you're new, you're like, oh, that's a lot of phone calls. You got to understand these guys are getting blown up all day long. And so we have to set ourselves apart. And the other argument, people are like, oh, you've been calling me like a million times, or they're annoyed. I can have a conversation with somebody that's annoyed. I can't have a conversation with somebody with dial tone, ringtone, busy signal. I don't give me no and voicemails. I can't talk to a voicemail. You know what I mean?
Oh.
I can try to talk to somebody that's annoying. You know what I mean? So don't be scared of that. It's scary at times. When I remember being like tiptoeing around leads, like, oh, I call this person too many times. What are they gonna think? Oh, I burnt this lead. It's like, if they send me straight to voicemail every time, guess what they're gonna do next time I call? Send me straight to voicemail. You know what I mean? Or if they hang up on me every time without even knowing who I am, guess what's gonna happen next time I call them? They're gonna do the exact same thing. So I know they're on the other line right now. They're there. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna have a conversation with you, and then make sure we like, hey, dude, I'm not a telemarketer, because they can come on angry sometimes. Like, hey, dude, hey, easy, easy. Is when he said, Bryce is your beneficiary for life insurance. Is that correct? You know, but yeah, that's my dialing strategy.
That's huge, dude. I love it. Well, dude, that's our time, man. I appreciate you jumping on. You're a beast, dude, and this was insanely helpful. There's so many things in here that if you guys go back and watch, and if you just the way you get good at this is not only doing it with reps, but taking those like role play we just did and what you exactly said on how to close, and you listen to that, and then you listen to it again, and then you listen to it again, and then like just replay those like chunks of like a minute a ton of times, and then go out there and start practicing it. Like that's how you get good at this stuff. You know what I mean? And so, dude, you gave us like 4 different times of this, aside from everything else, that super tangible. Listen to it back, take it, put it into a play, and that'll help you make money. So anything we could do for your team, man, let us know. We appreciate it. And I think we're gonna have Dennis on, if not next week, but one of these weeks coming up, because he caught all your juice and he's crushing it.
He's a killer, dude.
No doubt. All right, you guys. See ya.
Take care. See you in the main Zoom. Later, guys.